Thank you very much for taking time to participate in this public event on the scaling behavior change plastic reduction from local actions to policy pathways taking place in person in Bali, Indonesia, and also broadcasted all over the world. I heard there are about 200 online audiences watching our discussion, maybe not dispute, I hope. But anyway, thank you very much again for taking your time. As a short background of the context of this workshop, we have been working on the behaviors change for reducing single-use plastic and also promoting recycling at the communities, shops, school campuses, cities, and so on, together with the Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia for a couple of years, maybe more than 4 years. And then we found that there are many other organizations working in this area, Southeast Asia in particular, for reducing plastic waste, utilizing their knowledge of the community actions, behavior change, and so on. So we have decided to collaborate more with these organizations and then established the so-called Behaviour Lab or B Lab so that we can share our expertise, experiences, and knowledge for better utilization, better learning for better, more improved actions all over the region. And this is one of the events to showcase what we have been doing. We have been learning from the community actors. And in today's session, the particular focus is the dialogue among the local level, community level actors and the policymaker side, because they have different focuses, different understanding of the opportunities or challenges of the behavior change, but together with the different ideas, we can gain more understanding about what we can do more. So before taking too long time for this welcoming remarks, I will finish it and then I will introduce Mr. Reo Kawamura from Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia, or AREA, for his keynote remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Watabe-san, for kind introduction. I'm Reo Kamura, a director for Regional Center for Marine Plastic Debris of the Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, from local authorities, members of civil society, expert speakers, participants from the ASEAN region and beyond, and members of the Behaviour Lab partnership. Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be with you today to have a few words at the opening of this hybrid public event held in the beautiful island in Bali, Indonesia. As you know, when used effectively, behavioral change can be a powerful tool in addressing plastic pollution. However, until quite recently, very little research had been conducted in the ASEAN region to guide the policymakers in developing science-based instruments that take into account the region's unique socio-economic context. Against this background, 5 organizations working in this field of behavior change, namely AREA, IGES, GIZ, REA Center for Behavior and the Environment, and WWF Plastic Smart Cities, decided to join forces in 2025, bringing together their respective strengths and experiences. This partnership was named the Behaviour Lab, reflecting the fact that behavior change remains largely experimental phase in the ASEAN context. The collaboration is particularly meaningful given in the absence of the well-established and proven formulas for the behavioral change and practices for plastic in the region. The mission of the 5 partners is therefore to explore, learn, and advance this field together. Today's public event represents one of the small steps we are taking with the support and input of our partners based locally in Bali, at the national level in Indonesia and globally. We recognize that many practitioners on the ground have first-hand experience with the ways human behavior affects plastic consumption and waste management patterns. We look forward to hearing your insights and learning from your experience, which we hope will further enrich our understanding. Prior to this event this week, Behavior Lab members discussed the future activities we would like to prioritize into 2026 and beyond. One of the key interests of the lab is the monitoring and evaluation of behavioral change project. Without knowing what to monitor, we cannot assess project success. And without understanding whether the project is successful, we cannot consider scaling it up. If we are facing a similar challenge, I'm pleased to share that the monitoring evaluation framework is being developed and will be made available on the Behavior Lab webpage by the end of this year. The webpage itself will be launched in a few months. Together with the monitoring and evaluation framework and other content, we plan to continuously update and improve them to provide useful tools for our audience. To close my brief remarks, I'd like once again thank everyone joining us today, both online and in person for this event. I hope that all of us will take away meaningful insights that contribute to more sustainable habits around plastic. Thank you very much for your attention.
So thank you very much, Kawamura-san. And I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Atsushi Watabe, the Acting Program Director for Sustainable Consumption and Protection at the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, or so-called IGS. And I'm very honored to host the first panel of this workshop, inviting the local level policymakers and civil society organizations in Bali province in particular, who have been working on very unique, innovative, and also very challenging action on turning waste into resources together with the community people, educators, local business sectors, and so on. So the panelists, please come to these chairs prepared. Maybe I will sit here. And well, starting from Miss Katur, no, Mrs. I'm sorry, Ibu Katur Yuda Haryani, the director of the Environment Education Center Bali, PPLH. No? No, it's not. I'm sorry. Maybe there's mistake in the name. Okay. Okay, then, well, Mrs. How can I? Dear, Mrs. Dear, I'm sorry, I heard your name first. Mrs. Dear, wait, environmental consultant, Bali Province. I'm sorry, Mrs. Dear. Thank you very much. Please take your seat. Well, our next panelist will be Mrs. Zui Martini, the president and director for the PT Ecoloop Indonesia. Thank you very much. Again, because of my eyesight, I have to come closer to the screen, and I'm sorry for my bad pronunciation. Ibu Ida Aya Nura Intan, the project officer from the MPH Bali. Thank you very much. Please come to the seat, take your seat. So this session, we have two sessions today, and the first session is mostly on the actions at the community level, led by the civil society organizations working actively in this Bali province. And we will focus on what kind of challenges they have faced and addressed, and how they address these challenges together with the people living in this valley island, and also what kind of changes actually enabled by these actions, particularly on the side of the waste management and better use of resources. And but the point here is, well, these actions at the community level will usually do not go straightforward. Just it's not like just making inputs can produce immediate reaction of the people behavior change and the result in the big amount of reduction in the waste. But they have faced many challenges on the ground and learned from the ground level community people, and then grew up there and elaborated their action ideas eventually. So I would like to invite first from maybe Ms. Martin, first about your actions and
Okay, thank you very much for your question. Actually, this question is very, if we talk about the challenges and also how can we tackle all these problem. So will be long way to explain, but I try uh, to describe in the small or in the short term that when I'm working with the, especially in Bali, and we see that a lot of people in Bali, they're already aware that they should segregate their waste at source. But then why it cannot happen in constants? Yeah, because this is part of in my opinion, there's a gap between intention and also in the daily practical to do that, because they feel hesitate to do that, because maybe I can say there is 4 points will be highlighted in here, because actually the people don't know what is their role, the main role within a big ecosystem on waste management. This is the first. It means then if they don't know about their role, and they will I think they will think that if I already collect my waste and segregate it, and where this waste will be go, because I don't know. Yeah, and this is also part of the untrust of the system. They need to know about this. And the third one is related to the absence of the impact or feedback. If they already collect, they already segregate, and then some people will took that, and there is nothing. They don't know where to go about this waste. And I think this is the base that we need to encourage. Where is the role? Who can explain this? Yeah, on the ground. This is the first. And so that's why we see that this is the challenges that we need to tackle, so that we try to become a enabler and make a co-creations, identify which role can do what. For example, right? We do together with in the village level, because we think that the village level play the very important role. If the waste will be finished, or they can solve their own waste problem, and then there is nothing left, just only residual, and then they can put it in the landfill. This is the first. And then the local government, especially for the uh, village level, they should know about their role to educate their community. So the main or the center of the waste management upgrading should be in the village level. And then I think they also need the visibility. If they already segregate, collect and segregate the waste, then we can see. They will, we will, acknowledge or make collect all the data through this. For example, like type of materials, the volume of the materials, and then we pack all and then also send all this waste into the recycler facility. So that's why our program or strategy is to work together with village and then link the dot within this village to to the collection hub or even to the recycling facility. And part of the education then is not only the local government, and we need to encourage or empower the young people, because sometimes if they feel they do something to the environment, then they can share this, and they feel very happy to share their own activity into the maybe social media, because we already know about the social media, right? So we do something like that, and based on this activity, then we can give the input to the government. So we already do this, yeah. So it means then community already do something, and we need to have the uh, endorsement from the higher level of the government to acknowledge this and then put it into the regulations. So then they can replicate this activity to other area. So what is part that we cannot work so far? This is related to the trust. If the people trust, they already see that their waste already collect and segregate and put in the good manner until produce a new product, and they will trust. Okay, I will collect this, and this is part of my role. It's not my responsibility. It's my role to do this, and then will become another product. So this, in my opinion, that instead of they know about the role, the segregation at source will be the key tipping point. We do that. And I think the government, especially provincial government and other, they already have many. Yeah, they have even in the village level, they have pararam, they have everything. So now how can we link all these tools, yeah, already tools to improve and this activation, and then at the end we have impact less residual, less leakage on the sea and the river. So what I think that something that we cannot do with, because if the people only just like greenwashing, put it all in small amount to to do very limited of time, then this is sometimes can jeopardize the trust of the environment or the community. I think this is part of my opinion. Thank you.
Very much. And if I listened correctly, so you are differentiating the concept of responsibility and role. So if people feel that this is the waste segregation is a responsibility imposed by the government, then people do not understand their role in the systems. But I would like to listen to your thoughts and what will be the key actions, or maybe not just one key action, but what enables people to feel that this is their role, not the imposed responsibility.
In my opinion, they should know about the mapping of the ecosystem. This is the first. If the people, for example, community, their role is to collect and segregate, and they don't know that this is a very important role, then the ecosystem will be there is a gap, right? So I mean, if they already know about their role within the ecosystem of waste management, I think role and responsibility will be binding because they feel that okay, this is my role and I have the responsibility to close the loop on the ecosystem. So I mean, this is my point.
Your insight. I will come back to our team later, the later discussion. So next, I would like to ask Ibu Intan about your action in MPH Bali. This organization also conducts very unique action at the community level. So please also share what are your challenge and what you worked with the community people, what you learned.
So good afternoon, everyone. It is an honor for me to represent Merah Putih Hijau, or shortly called MPH. It is a non-profit organization working to help communities to improve their waste management, to help them manage their waste better. And because we want to help communities, that's why we chose to work at the village level as the closest administrative area to the village. And we are very happy that there are other organizations as well that recognize this importance, such as Ecoloop. And what MPH done, we also believe that waste separation at the source is the key to solving the waste issue in Bali. So we started with doing regular education and monitoring to the residents. So we believe that this regulation and the emphasis on waste separation and doing regular education and monitoring, it can be done by anyone. It can be done by the village officials. It can be done by the facility staff or youth. But what we find from our experiences, the most effective is when there is a designated team that does a regular monitoring and education from one house to another, so that they can see whether or not the residents actually separated their waste, and even when they're not, what is their problem. So we have kind of a form that the cadres or the women team can fill in, so to see, to monitor what how's the waste separation going on, what is the problem that the residents are facing. And these are some of the pictures of the women team cadres that we have established in the village. And of course, this is also supported by the village government. So what we MPH done is, first of all, we approached the village government. And then we, together with the village government, made a regulation, whether it is official village government regulation or traditional village government regulation. And then after that, we prepare to establish the waste management infrastructure, because we don't want the education to regress. We don't want the behavior change to regress if there is no consistency, like what Mrs. from Ecoloop said. If the residents have implement behavior change, they have changed their behavior from mixing their waste into not mixing their waste or separating their waste, and then they see that in the collection process, all of the waste are mixed, that's going to demotivate them. So we don't want that to happen. That's why we established the waste management infrastructure first. So we help the village to allocate their funds. Like, this is where you should allocate your funds first. And then we also ask them to allocate additional fund for incentive for these beautiful ladies to do door-to-door education. And as you can see, some of them, even on the first year of their education, they're still wearing their usual clothes at home. They do door-to-door education, but then later on, the village have an additional fund. They created a regular team that do education, so they have their own clothes that so every time the residents see them, oh, they know that they're going to monitor their waste. And then you can see that as a result, this is made by the residents. So this is not provided by the village government. So they have changed their habit and they have made their own separated waste containers. Can we move on to the next picture? So the problem in NPH, the recent challenge that we face is that behavior change is definitely possible, especially since we work with traditional village government as well. In Bali, traditional village government hold a big power. And so changes happens, but what the challenge is to maintain this change, make it a habit, and whether or not it is resilient to changes in the higher government regulation, right? So what happened is that there's a change in one of our assisted village. So this village, before there's composting happening, but after the enactment of the Gianyar Regency rule to only accept separated waste at the landfill, which is a very, very good move. However, since the notice is quite sudden and there are no proper prior education, so this village, who doesn't have this green team anymore, this woman team anymore, so they only have it in the beginning. So after the habit is formed, there's no traditional education, right? And then new rules happen, so there are changes in the different types of waste. So that's why the inorganic waste and residual waste become mixed, but they have already understand which is organic. So the problem is only the inorganic and residual waste. So this is what happened in one of our assisted village that has no regular monitoring and education after the habit is formed. And then the next picture, please. This is what happened in Tegal Tugu village. So this village has a woman team that regularly still does door-to-door education, regardless the habit is formed or not. So after the changes happen, they just socialize it. They just educate the residents that there's changes in the regulation. Now this waste belongs to residual. This waste belongs to inorganic. So what happened is that the waste, there are mixed waste, the residents takes time to adjust to it, but it's not as many and it doesn't disturb the work of the staff doing the facility. They still can do the composting, and we even brought people to the TPS3 the facility to study there. So no big changes happens. So what we want to emphasize is that there needs to be regular education and monitoring. What we have found to work is that creating a designated team, doing regular education and monitoring, it has worked. But as what we have seen happen, only notice, simple notice, flyer hands out on or signage without proper education definitely didn't work. So thank you.
Interesting. And so the importance of regular monitoring and education. But in your case, you introduced that the monitoring and education can be done by anyone in the village, like the younger generation, older generation, men, women. So that's a very interesting point. So again, this connects to the point from the Martini about the role and responsibility, the combination. So how you identify who can be the person who are actively engaged in the monitoring, or who can be the good educator in the communities, or do you think that everyone can be done that, or should you have any methods to identify this person, this group can be a good community leaders?
So there is a reason why we choose women in our team. Is because usually in the household, woman is the one who cook, so they are responsible for their ways, and they're also educate their children So as an example for the children, that's why we target women as the educators, but that also doesn't mean that it closes the loop for it closes the door for other people to contribute. Youth can also contribute. For example, if they make a kind of for example, in Siangan village, we have encouraged the youth to do door-to-door education. So not only women can do that, but also youth can do that as well. But we choose women because it is easier. You know, women talking to other women that does waste separation at home is going to be easier. But we also do other encourage other stakeholders as well to do the education.
This is quite a lot to learn from your experiences. And we would like to invite our third panelist, Ibtia from the provincial government of Bali, because this area has quite a lot of unique ground level, community level actions. In the meantime, your government, the provincial government is developing the very systematic waste management systems in collaboration with the national government. And how do you see that their local government's role to, facilitate such unique actions, or if there's any areas for further collaboration with the civil society to make your newly developed good systems of waste management more effective in the ground, what are kind of role you will assume for the local government?
First of all, thank you for having me. I'm representing the head of the Center of Environment Control Regional Office of the Ministry of Environment in Bali and for Bali and Nusa Tenggara. So I'm Dia, by the way. You can call me Dia because you have you have difficulties in pronounce my name. So first of all, I'm not from the provincial government. So I'm part of the central government. We are the representative of the Minister of Environment for regional Bali and Nusa Tenggara. So for the local policy, the local policy for the government, provincial government of Bali, I cannot say much about that, but I will share what we have been doing so far, collaborating with the local governments and also NGOs and private sectors in enforcing the change of behavior in terms of waste management. So if I may, this is the information. I will convey the information that this is 10 years ago. The government of Indonesia, through Ministry of Environment and Forestry back then, officially launched the campaign for restriction of single-use plastics, and it has been 10 years, and we still have this. The behavior change is the very persistent challenge for us. So we are still doing the work and the collaboration with other ministries, with private sectors and also local governments to reinforce this. And Bali is now implementing its regulations in restricting single-use plastics mainly. And this is a very big challenge for us because we face a bigger problem now, as we heard that the Suwong will be closed down soon. And there are still, unsegregated waste from Denpasar and Badung, especially because their waste goes to Suwong. And we see that the problem is not like Ibu Martini said previously. It's not the lack of awareness, but maybe the lack of you know social enforcement, and it's because it's not their program, it's the government program. So, and the trust issue, because they don't trust the government, I guess. Well, yes, we do have mistakes because we across Indonesia the same problem occurs. Most well, now if I may say, all of the landfills are operated at the same system, open dumping. Some of them have better operation, but most of the landfills are open dumping. So they don't trust us as a government. We don't provide the segregated containers, or we mix the waste that they are already segregated into and put it into the landfills. That's a huge problem. So I think from our point of view, we see this as part of this is also a cultural problem. So it's very difficult to shift the culture. So we try to make a new approach. Well, not a new one, but we see that this pecalang. Are you familiar with that term? Pecalang is like a customary security officer. Yes, but this yes, from Desa Adat, traditional village. So they play as some pecalang that we have encountered. They say that they are the guard of the heaven. So these people are highly respected by the community. So we try to approach them and try to pursue them to have because they have a big impact on the community. Why don't we just train them and give them the proper knowledge of sorting waste, and so they can tell the people to do so. And we did 2 batches of the training, and several pecalang that we have worked with. They now assisted us in doing a series of trainings. We used the method of participatory rapid assessment with the other pecalangs from other villages, from other cities. However, it's the result. I mean, the result of course, we want to have the behavioral change, but I think we still have a long way to reach that. But we are happy to see that some pecalang voluntarily have conducted small trainings in their villages, and also they are welcome. They welcome us to invite them to assist us in a series of this training that we do for other pecalang in other cities. So can we show the first picture? This one. This one is the training for the pecalang we conducted last year, and some of the pecalang from some cities have they have worked with the local government. They coordinate with local government, and they gather people, and they voluntarily show them how to manage the waste properly. And then some of this agent of change called, can we show the second picture? This is the training for other pecalang in other from other cities. This is the pecalang that we train. this one, he eagerly, have a, he's willing to do voluntary works. But again, we cannot do this continuously because we have limited sources in terms of time and people, personnel, and also budget to do this. So we try to collaborate. We talk to NGOs and also donor partners. We have done this with the help of the government of Denmark. So, but we still have a lot of work to do. And then, so the last few weeks, we have been doing we call it Satu Bina Satu. One coach, one person or one group coach for one village. And we collaborate with the students from the universities. The last picture, please. We go door to door with these students, and we work together with the head of the village, and we come to the vendor of the stores, to the facilities, the waste facilities, the waste management facilities, and also to the families, and we try to show them how to segregate the waste, but also we want to know what problem they have in implementing the proper waste management, the sorting of the garbage, and how to educate the family. And we want to map the problem so that we can consult with the local government. We have also worked with the local government in this activity. And it's still, well, we still have homeworks to do. It's still a far way to go, like what Ibu Martinez said, and also from the Merah Putih Hijau. And well, these two ladies have more experiences than us in working with the local people. So we need to include them in our collaboration. But yeah, we're doing what we can because this behavior change, it is not highlighted or internalized yet in our national policy. But we are now having this komunikasi, informasi, edukasi, communication, information, and education, the program that we are now developing. And we are going to put this behavioral change as one of the main subject to be highlighted. So I think that's all that I can convey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent. And well, I'm so much interested in how the government, I'm sorry for, I misunderstood at the provincial government that the national government is working with the local government to gain the trust with the community people and collaborating with the people called Puchalan, and to be working at the educators and local advocates for the community level to collaborate more with the community. And also you said that it's not just educating people, you are learning from the community about what's the condition, making it challenging for them to segregate waste, making them not fully trusting the government. So I wonder what, maybe there is one, two or more points about what you learned, and is there any points learning from the community, your ministry or local governments decided to change the policy or the way acting with the community?
Yes, as the previous speaker said, that it's the trust issue. They have the trust issue with the government. So we need to work hard to improve that, to lessen the trust issue. So we try to start with the education for people, but also to provide the waste management facilities that are properly operated, where the segregation is there. Really, I mean, now the recycling center in most villages and most cities in Indonesia, they are not operating properly because the segregation is not there. It's the segregation from the source is there, but then they don't have enough facilities to do the segregation at the recycling center. So, I mean, also the vehicle to bring the waste from the source to the recycling center is not segregated. It's not a segregated vehicle. So maybe Ibu Yuli from Deltara has experience on that, and that's why we need to operate these waste management facilities more effectively. So this is the first to operate to be operating the recycling center has to operate effectively. So we need to put machines and also the equipments that are supporting the waste segregation. Although the waste segregation at the source is the key. So this is we are working on to revitalize the recycling center at the villages that they have, and also make some new one. This is also the policy of the local government, and revitalize waste banks, and also the to get more off-takers for the recycled segregated waste, the recycled ones.
There, please correct me if I'm wrong. So there are some the recycling center segregation facility operated by the local government as well as the community level ones, like the intern introduced. So I wonder how much of the role are taken or they're shared by the community level, or how much of it is by the local government, and if there's any like coordination meetings or something to share fair and effective role sharing for the two levels. Is there any?
Okay. So, first of all, I need to clarify that the facility that we assisted is funded by the village government. So the village government can either allocate their own funds if they have a big revenue, but they can also get propose. There are villages that propose to the central government so that they can make their own facilities. So all of the facility that we have assisted are the facility owned by the village government. However, for the people, for the people that operated this facility, so what we do is we connect them. So there are people who there are communities that are already doing this environmental movement in the village. So what we do is we connect them with the village government who also wanted to improve their waste management. So for us, what we assisted is the village-owned waste management facility.
Then I'd also like to ask Martin about so you also said that your organization are working with the government, trying to support the local governments to set better regulation based on your experiences, and what kind of opportunities you have to discuss and utilize your learning to the local government policy making, like regular meetings or the more active ones.
Okay, thank you. Maybe before that, if I may recall, related to the trust, because already twice, and I mean, the trust is more like, it's not to the government, but it's more like the people don't trust if they already collect, and then this will be properly managed.
The system.
Yeah, the system. So it means then another point is if I can see this, because if we talk about non-organic material, should be managed with the I mean, it's more like economical of scale. So it means then should be private, because if I can say that the EPR things will be lies under this, yeah, the company produce the product and then they have the packaging, so non-organic, and they know about the contents of the packaging itself, and then they should, contribute and give, or maybe this APR part, they should also contribute the knowledge about the type of material, etc., within the ecosystem and supply chain itself. So it means then, in my opinion, that the role of the government is more like giving the umbrella and also endorse the system, but based all in the implementation level. Because if we already have a lot of regulation but cannot be implemented because it's not really fit into the ground. In my opinion, every island in Indonesia, or maybe in the provincial level, they have their own, character, their own habit, their own facility, etc. So it means then should be treated based on their, readiness. So this is the most important thing. And how can we give the inputs to the government through the, in my opinion, is through the implementation level first, rather than give the, or just like more like, we said that, oh, we already have the experience to do that, but actually we don't really put our shoes into the ground, and this is the problem. So we need to implement this. We try to create the models. As I mentioned earlier, we work together with the local, especially for the village. We already have the models. We already have the business models as well, and that by these models we can, we can share what kind of regulation that we need to have to secure this model, or how to replicate this model. This is my opinion. And then at first, yeah, we need to have a certain step to do that. Yeah, first they should know about the rule. I just say it many times, to say that they know the rules even on each within the ecosystem. What is the role of the community? What is the role of a government? What is the role of the collection hub? What is the role of the recycling, etc.? We need to know about that. And second one, how can we explain this into the natural things with the data? We need to have the data. After we said that, okay, this is the rule, and we need the data, because this is a common sense. Everyone need the data. How many organic material, how many unorganic material, etc. We need to have the system, easiest way, feasible way to implement on the ground. And I think this is will be make it easiest for the stakeholder to implement on the ground. And the third one, don't be afraid to do wrongdoing. Yeah, because everything we need to learn on the ground. We already have the model, we implement it. This is already agreed among the stakeholder. If this is fails, we need to change a little bit, and then it's okay. Then we can try to get the better and the best that stakeholder can achieve that together. So I think how can we implement this on the ground? Yeah, first we need to have the right potential partner, just like local village government and developing the community as agent of change. This is also help to the local government to educate not only for the community, also for the school, because as I mentioned, education is our investment in the future. This is the more like preventive activity. We educate the people or the our child now. Maybe we will see 10 years. Yeah. And the collection, improving the ecosystem, improving the collection hub, recycling hub, waste bank, etc. This is a curative activity, yeah, because we already have the waste itself. And should be, running together, and hopefully that in the future, based on the preventive and educate our generation, young generation will be, we can, replicate just like Japan already did. Yeah, we hope that we can achieve on that level. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy. We have a couple of questions from online participants, and some of them are quite relevant to the points made by Martin or Intan previously. Some of them are for Dia. So from the first question to Dia, but I think this is relevant to all panelists. So the question is about the perhaps different types of knowledge transfer model or methods like education, training, or just communication, conversation, focus group discussion might be needed for different partners. So how do you design these different way of communicating, capacity building to different audiences? Yeah.
We have been trying to do we try to educate, and like I mentioned previously that we have this communication, information and education, and we are trying to have this internalized in the policy. We have different units in handling this perhaps if I can mention Ibu, there is the Center for Environment Generation that works with schools and with the young generation, and also we have this directorate for waste reduction. They work with the community and also the recycle center and also waste banks, and they make the campaign for them. And also we, and at the local level, we work with the government, with the local government, and we push the operation of the waste management facilities by we have regular workshops for the waste management facilities. And also we do, as I mentioned previously, for the behavior change, we try to get down to the grassroots and communicate with directly with the people.
Intan, the same question. How do you design your education or training programs for different kind of partners you're working?
So, what we have done in the village is we educate the women teams. So, it is a form of a very informal, you could say, form of education. We don't have a lot of big materials. We just tell them why it is important, why separating waste is important, what you could have done, and what we can provide. and then we provide them with the monitoring materials. You should fill in this and that, and then we give them types of role play. So we act as the residents, and we give them kind of an idea ahead of what could have happened in the community. For example, resistance. There are probably some residents who are quite knowledgeable, and they try to find ways to not separate their ways. So how to handle that? So that's the kind of education that we do to the women cadres when it comes to, let's say, youth from educational institutions. We want to know what they have and kind of have an exchange. For example, if they are from economical background, so what can you contribute? You don't have to do door-to-door education. You could create kind of a guide for the village government on how to allocate their funds, or you could create kind of different types of tariffs for different subscribers, for example, because there are entities that produces more waste than the others. So if you are studying economy, then that's how you can contribute. So we believe that at the end of the day, everyone can contribute in improving the waste management system in their community. If they want to do the easiest way is just doing regular monitoring and education. Coming back to your second question before, is that anyone can do it. What is important is whether it is regular or not. So they need to form a habit, and when there is changes, they need to be re-educated. So that's what's the most important, where if you could contribute more based on your expertise, that's good. But if you can't, at least there's a clear and consistent rule from the government that, for example, we were hoping that the government could have kind of a clarity and consistent on different types of waste that we should segregate, and then the others, the students doing door-to-door education, or the women cadres, or the village officials like Chalang doing that, they could just follow it. And if the government could come in person to contribute to the education, that would be very great, because there are the types of people in the communities that they don't want to listen to women, for example, because they don't think that what they said matters. There are some kind of cultural differences. Bali is have this patriarchal system, but if it's from the government or people they highly respected, they listen to them. So yeah, so it's about regularity and consistency at the end of the day. But if you could contribute more based on your expertise and standing, that would be good.
The challenge is not just how we provide information, how we train, but who comes to the right person comes to the right place, to the right audience. That's the big learning. If Martin, do you have any thoughts on how you design the proper education training for the right different audience?
So actually, this is also our first activity to touch into the education, because we think that this is should be running hand in hand with the collection, etc. So we think that we can develop the models, just like I think everyone also already have building up the community. And we replicate this model from the Tangerang Selatan. This is South Tangerang. They already have the very active community, and we implement this in Bali, and hopefully that this young generation community can, explore not only within the community but also in the school, and hopefully they can also train to the West Bank as well. So this is the first models that we want to have. The second one, because as I mentioned, we need the visibility. Visibility is something that people can see. So we already have the core of or center of the education will be in the village office, and then we will put some tools there, and hopefully these tools, for example, like a deposit return system tools, and then the people can come and how to make a proper segregation and proper, dismantle all the material, for example. But this is only for the educations. Other thing that we also provide the tools that we can put on the on this village level to make some kind like role models. Yeah. We think about the used cooking oil as well, for example. Used cooking oil, this one like a bottle, glass bottle. This is also residual in Bali. So hopefully that the models can the models not only collect, segregate, but we want to solve it as well. So we try to create the models from the input until output, and we invite some of our partners to develop this maybe recycling facility, etc., around this role models village. This model that more in practical. We want to do more in practical, and then we can spread this with our partners, especially with the village.
Can I
Yes,
add
please.
a little bit more? Because in terms of education, we cannot work by ourselves. So we have this cooperation with other ministries as well, like Ministry of Education, Higher Education, and also Ministry of Tourism, of course, Ministry of Health, because we have to move together and educate the younger generation to be able to manage waste properly.
Or the education is not just about the, information provision from one place to the other place. It's more of the collaboration of the setting up the right facility or environment to enable the segregation, proper segregation together with the people who are trained, and also joint monitoring and education together with the people. That's this kind of diversity makes the education or training more effective for the behavior change. And the one related question, a quick question to perhaps if Martin is about another question comes about would training of the local government officials also worth planning in terms of understanding the principles of behavior change or understanding the importance of, as Dia said, the learning from the ground to adapting the policy implementation?
Yes, I think I will not do it by ourselves because we already have a MPH and PH. Yeah, she already experienced in this, how to, facilitate the local government, how can they manage the budgeting, etc. And part of the, maybe it's more like specific, if we talk about the type of material, how to collect and how to treat this into the new material, for example, maybe this part of the producer can, can share this. So it means then, as you mentioned, waste is all is our things to do. We need to collaborate. So if there is already existing, have the special expertise, then I will reach them out. And then how can we collaborate on this? Yeah.
Fine. I would like to invite if any of the in-person participants have questions to the panelists. Otherwise, I will go to the next. Please.
Hello, this is a question for MPH. Thank you very much for what you've shared today. I have a lot of respect for the work that MPH does in Bali. It's really patient, painstaking, grueling work, very necessary at the same time. I want to ask you what your strategy is when it comes to expanding your work across the villages. So to my understanding, you go deep, right, when you are present in the village and setting up the waste management system, education, capacity building, and so on. Do you have plans for exits, i.e. moving on from a village when you determine that behavior change has taken root, the systems are in place, and you feel that it's autonomous, it's sustainable? I'm interested to get your explanation about how you approach that. Thanks.
Thank you very much for the question. May I know your name?
My name is Mark from Catalyze.
Thank you, Mark. When MPH assisted villages, we have this formula called the 7-step to develop a waste management in the village level. And what we expect is when all of this step is completed, there only remains monitoring and evaluation. And this have been done in a couple of our villages that has already have formed the habit. So when they already form the habit and all of the system is in place, what we do is that we monitor them usually online, and sometimes when, for example, I live in Klungkung and then I go to my workplace at Gianyar. So when I go there, I pass through many of our assisted villages and I could just come in there and say, hello, so what happened so far? Is there any issue or it's just going well? So that's what we have done. So in the 7th step is, first of all, we have established collaboration with the village government, and then after that we create the regulation and then the facility, and then we simultaneously do the education. So after that, what remains is there's a funding issue, and also where should the waste go, for example, because we have composting at the facility, right? So when that happens, what we do is we also help with how the facility can distribute this compost. So we ask the village to collaborate with the business units. For example, if they have hotels in the area, in the village area, then the hotels can buy the compost. So one of our village in Taro village, they require all of their business units to buy the compost from the TPS3R. So when that happens, we create a lot of ways for the facility to keep going. So our aim when we go to the village is not to intensively assisted them forever, but what we want to do is create a system and a habit so that even when we're gone, they will continue to work. That's why all of the people involved, including the woman cadres, it's from the women that existed there, from the residents. And also even if the village cannot afford to form this woman cadres, we also consider, for example, there are youth in the village. The village usually have kind of a community service agreement with university, so they regularly receive them. So what we do is we tell the village, what you can do is you can direct them towards doing door-to-door education or anything that the village need. And then after that, the village can do them on their own. And sometimes they also inform us, we have this issue, but we have solved it. So in the very first place, what MPH wanted is whenever we assist the village, we expected them to be able to manage themselves after they get to the monitoring and evaluation phase. But of course, we didn't leave them completely. That's why we have kind of a social and cultural approach. We are kind of their friends, and if they have any other issues, for example, then we can try to solve it together. We can restart the collaboration. For example, in Taro village, we have already assisted them. I think this year is the 6th year. So they already have all of the regulation in place, the habit in place, the system in place. But then, because they discontinue the active regular monitoring by the cadres, and then there's changes, there's another problem happens. So we came back and then try to find ways to solve this, whether they should allocate their fund to solve this new issue, or should they partner with other villages, or should they ask for proposals to the business units so that they could allocate their funds to help the village government on this particular issue. I hope that answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For the time management, this is already time to close this first panel, and thank you very much. And my understanding is that this panel highlighted what's happening very unique in Bali, perhaps about the collaboration between the local governments, community level organizations, and the government sectors. The community organizations are not just a tool for implementing the government policies, but the governments are not just a background condition for the civil society to work in the community. So they are taking place. What are taking place now is more active communication. Perhaps some of them are really painstaking patients, but still their iterative process is leading to the more creative and constructive results. So I hope this point of further collaboration among the stakeholders is taken to the second panel of the policymaker side. So thank you very much again for the panelists' excellent intervention.
Again, thank you again to everyone from the first panel. I think we heard some really great feedback and inputs. I think I particularly enjoyed, if I can call out some of this discussion about role versus responsibility, the trust issue, and really honing in on figuring out who it is in the community that you can work with. These, village security people that are in a trusted position and are key allies. So I think those were really wonderful pieces to bring into the conversation. So now we're going to move into the second panel. We're going to talk about supporting. We'll do the second panel, which is going to be on supporting behavior change policy. So linking local action into national policy, provincial policy, a little bit of how we share policy across the region and around the world. As Watabe-san mentioned earlier, we have many people joining us online from around the world, I think across Asia, Europe, North America. So I think this is a fruitful discussion we can have. So I'd like to invite the panelists up here to join me. First, we will have Mr. Kawamura-san from AREA, Pak Arisman from the Center for Southeast Asian Studies, and Ibu Julie Ng from Delterra here in Bali. So please, yes, take a seat. Great, thank you. So I want to start our discussion kind of looking a bit, we'll start at the regional level. So Kawamura-san, I want to start with you and talk a little bit about the role of knowledge sharing within ASEAN. I know that AREA does a lot of this work. This is one of your core capacities. So what do you see the role of knowledge sharing within ASEAN for advancing and increasing capacity for behavior change in the region?
Thank you very much, Dwayne. Maybe before answering directly to your question, I should introduce what area is and what area is doing and what is the regional center is doing. Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia is an international organization established based on the East Asia Summit agreement in 2008. This institute is located in Jakarta, Indonesia, to support ASEAN Secretariat and ASEAN member state for their sustainable development and economic integration. And in 2019, area established the new center, Regional Center for Marine Plastic Debris, to support plastic pollution countermeasures as a prioritized area for the sustainable development in 2019. So our center has the main mission, prioritized mission, is to provide science-based information, policy information to support the policy making of the ASEAN member states or ASEAN as a whole to develop plastic pollution countermeasures. So our website has provided what kind of the policy, for example, cleanup activities or plastic waste management or EPR initiatives are ongoing or implemented in ASEAN member states. And the ASEAN plus 3 member states also covered. So you can find Japan, South Korea, and China's information also from our website. So you can compare the progress and advancement or the current status quo for the member state policy making. And in order to support such kind of the policy making, we have also showed the information about regional initiatives or international initiatives. For example, INC discussions or what kind of regional action plan is established among ASEAN member states. What kind of the policy determination, for example, summit declaration or framework actions are established among ASEAN members. You can find such kind of information and find that ASEAN members has already taken step forward in advancing plastic pollution countermeasures. So among this kind of this, our mission is, in other words, to push policymakers with information, established information about policy making or some science information or some science evidence about some policy options. For example, you can find from our website the toolkit jointly established with area and IDES about the behavioral change and behavioral change initiatives, so that maybe for the policymakers in all of the ASEAN member states might find some suspicion about one policy instruments, not limited to the behavioral change. It is effective, it is working, it is effective in some countries, but how about in my countries? In such kind of information, it's very, very important to consider the policy making. Looking at our website, you can find, okay, behavioral change can be workable in Indonesia, in the Philippines, in Vietnam, in other ASEAN member states from our Turkey. And in addition to that, we have in the Behaviour Lab members has already provided the successful cases of the behavioral changes so that we can persuade, okay, for example, to the government official that this is effective not only in Japan, it is effective in Indonesia. You can control excessive consumption of the single-use plastic by these options. If properly prepared, properly coordinated among stakeholders, you can find successful outcome. This is the role. I believe this is the role of the regional center, and this is the role of the knowledge sharing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kamura-san. And I want to echo what you're saying. I think when we formed the Behavior Lab, one of the things we found was that when we looked at examples of behavior change from around the world, they were often from Europe or North America. And people in this region said, well, great for Norway. But what does this mean for me in Indonesia? What does this mean for me in Cambodia? So we really need the work that all of you here in the room are doing to make the point, to make the case, so that we can show the evidence to government, to businesses, and move forward with effective behavior change. So thank you for making that point, Kamara-san. Maybe, Mr. Arisman, could I turn to you to maybe bring things to the Indonesian context? You're with the Center for Southeast Asian Studies. You do a lot of work around Indonesia. So I wonder if you could give a bit of context on the policy landscape around behavior change, around waste management in Indonesia. We know there's a waste crisis declared in the country, and I'm aware as well, the two of us together have been working on a policymaker needs assessment around behavior change. So I wonder if you could speak to that a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Dwayne. First of all, I would like to introduce our division. We are a think tank, disabled area. We have done several applied research and capacity building across ASEAN. And all of our project, of course, one of the components is behavior change. We have a project with Norway, mentioned already, Denmark, Japan, with IJS as well, area. The latest finding, we have we call it preliminary research. We interview Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Education, like Ibu Dia mentioned, because when we are talking about behavior change, this should be related ministry, also Ministry of Tourism. As specifically when it comes to the plastic issues, again, like Ministry of Tourism have campaign like no zero waste tourism something, and also from schools they have like environmental school, like green school, also as well as in the Ministry of Environment. So basically, there's a lot of initiative in Indonesia for behavior change, but the lack is the first is limited capacity for the implementation and enforcement, and the second is according to our finding that need more integration with behavior change into the policy design, because now we maybe heard of so many awareness raising, but not a long-term process. And then the third one, still limited monitoring and evaluation, and data, also mentioned also by Bu Martini, for impact measurement, because the regulation is there. Like my understanding, like for waste management, we have a lot of regulation from the Ministry of Environment, including for the producers, like Minister Regulation number 75 for EPR from the producer side. So, but what the needs from the government side, now they need also monitoring and evaluation framework, which is more effective, which one is more effective. And also, of course, there's a lot of case study called successful behavior intervention. But the problem is, including we also have a best experience, also bad experience, learning from our experience how to do try to do social intervention. Like the simple case study in Malang, we had a project with EU 1 year. We facilitate one village to do waste segregation. It's successful because now from 400, now it's 100 household doing waste segregation. But when it comes to the replication to other city, the other village is an issue. So maybe it's good for this village, but not really good for other village. And then the second one, we also have maybe later I will come to our experience for nudging, but maybe we start with that. Anyway, thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. I think you've called out like a number of really important points that, as you mentioned, were brought up in the first panel around, effective policy. Policy may exist, but is it able to be implemented? Different levels of government having different roles and responsibilities. So I think these are important points. And to your final point, yes, we will get back to some other examples of behavior change work that you and your team at CSCs have been doing. So maybe I can go to you, Julie, now. Maybe you can first introduce Delterra a little bit for people who don't know about the work of Delterra, and then I'll ask you a question. Please.
Thanks, Good. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Judy, currently working with Delterra in Bali. Probably a lot of you have never heard of Delterra if you're not working in risk management in Bali. So we are a non-profit that works with government and community to create a waste system that can be implemented, that actually works. So we actually work across all food chains, the value chains. We work with household, we work with businesses, government, public places, and the way we work is we committed to address the entire system. That's why we in Delterra we have like 4 pillars that we work. We have behavior change, and then we have operation, we have strategy, and also we have for the demand for the supply. So the things is from the beginning when we design our interventions, we never designed it as an implementers because we know that we're not gonna stay here all the time. So the way we design it, we always work together with the government to make sure that whatever that we design can be adopted by the government. We learned that because currently we work in Bandung. We had several programs that we implement in Denpasar before. We learned the hard way, like Ibu Martini said, fail, learn. So if we don't integrate the system into the government system, once we learn is collapse. So when we enter Bandung, we redesign the whole system. So that's why we start with the design, working together with the government of what is possible, what is not possible, what can be done, what cannot be done. So that's where we start our program.
Thank you. So the question I have for you to start with, I think your final point here kind of gets at it a little bit. I want to talk about the work that Delterra does. What do you see in terms of we heard Ibu Dia mention this, maybe I can say tension between, national or provincial policy and local implementation, and kind of, there's a challenge there. What do you see through your work? You've mentioned, you're working with government. Can you share with us, which levels of government and what the experience is there and what your analysis might be?
One good thing that's already working right now is there's a framework of the regulation from the national level to provincial and even at the district level. So if you look at the regulation, it's already there. Unfortunately, with the decentralization system, then to translate all the regulation into the implementation, then it relies so much on the local, then which means rely on their resources, their system, the way they work. Then that's where the system usually the gap usually exists, because they design for example, in the national level, the system is designed with more on a bigger scheme. But then it's not necessarily be implementable at the district level, while they demand it, like regardless in which level you are, you have to do it. So for the local level to translate that, then they also have to create a system where enable them to translate that, which means they create a different system. Each village will create a different system for themselves. This is what we try to work with in Bandung, try to create a system that scalable and can be implemented regardless of what the condition, much of the condition of the desa. I think that's pretty much it. But maybe later I'll come back with how we test that. But for now, I think that's
Yeah, great. Thank you. So I guess, Arisman, I want to come back to you just to pick up on you mentioned other implementations that you've been doing on behavioral nudging. So I wonder if you can maybe tell us a little bit about what those implementations look like, what you've learned from it, and how this might inform policy, what government might need to hear about how these implementations went.
Yeah. We had a project support by ITS and yeah. The first pilot is in the university level, and then the second phase of the project in the school level. So means both is education institution. Why we target these two institutions? We believe the knowledge is high, and yeah, based on our baseline, is they have a high knowledge. Yeah, they understand, especially young generation, engage with the internet information. So they are very, like a sustainable lifestyle. But when come to the in practice, they say we try to test two plastic product. The first is a plastic straw. The second is plastic bag. We don't understand why they need a straw, and because in the past they just drink directly with a straw, and then they don't need plastic bag. But because of the habit, if you buy some fried chicken and then you have to bring the plastic bag, and then we tested using the 6 level of behavior framework developed by REP, especially the novel one, choice architecture and social influence and emotional appeals. And based on that, it's only 6 months intervention, but we understand that it worked well, can do well, because there's a reduce of student, university and schools to use the plastic straw as well as a plastic bag. Because that time, usually the vendors, they provide the straw. And then this is, we change the default from the automatically get it, and then we by request. So that's why I think this is part of research experiment testing the theory, and it works. And then the second one, the lesson from these two projects, the commitment from the multi-stakeholders. The same like in the university, there's a dean, faculty level, rector, but in the school there's a principal, there's a teachers. And the last one, I think this is important, like I mentioned in my first one about data and monitoring, because we did weekly monitoring to make sure how many straw already reduced in 1 month and after 6 months, and then what is the benefit for the vendors, the reducing of the plastic straw as well as the plastic bag, as well as for the student, because this has become shared norms, like a trend of, okay, it's cool if I reduce the plastic. So it's like become shared norms in the community. So I think, yeah, the same like I remember in Jakarta, people drink a tumbler is become lifestyle because of they understand that it's a sustainable lifestyle. But this is because of posted in social media, and then some influencer like give an example of this is a best practice. I think from that, from this small scale, because we are trying to scaling up the behavior set to the policy. I think the point is how the I different perspective with Bu Yulianti, because waste management is a local government, not national government. Because national government is only framework. So that's why if let's say in our case in Depok City, if the Depok look at University of Indonesia as a model, I think they have to do they have to buy this model as a reference and the policy in the local government level. But yeah, let's see because this project still continue the process. Okay, I think it's not from me first.
And can I ask you just a quick follow-up question on that, just building off of what Julie was saying? When you were implementing in the high school, and I can share with the audience that in a previous project we also had a similar experience with a high school, that you could affect policies within the campus, but it was easy perhaps for the students to walk off the campus and go to another local store or have family come visit and bring plastic. So I think, does this kind of underline the need for a broader push? As Julie was saying, if you have a patchwork of different systems, it can be difficult for people who are crossing in and out of those systems to, effectively manage waste.
Yeah, exactly. Like the simple one, not only in the school, yeah. Like let's say in the past, if I remember, there's a program from the Ministry of Environment to test it the plastic bag charge only for 20 local government. So, but the other government, no. So, can you imagine is a association of retail, because we have a discussion with Indonesian Retail Association. They have a Alfamart or mini market, one in Tangerang Selatan, one in Jakarta. So it's a different treatment. Once they are providing a plastic bag, and the rest you have to pay. So I think, we have to, for our experience, the important is the buy-in from the policymaker, because not based on our research, they still lack of understanding about behavior change as a systematic approach. Like I mentioned, like they already make awareness campaign. It's already part of communication of behavior enough, but it's not like that. So based on our pilot, small in the school, but this is a show that workable, it's doable. So the same like we live in one village. I think should be. The policymaker make this as a case study and input for the policy design. More technical, like mentioned also by Yuli, but it's usually the regulation is very broad topic. But when it comes to the very technical practicality, people still have different perspective, different opinion, and of course different infrastructure as well. Thank you.
So, okay, so you're telling us it's not simple. I think I agree. I think we can all agree. Thank you. So maybe just building on that, and Kawamura-san, I will come back to you, but I'm going to ask Julie just to follow up on that with maybe any reflections on what Erisman was just talking about. And also he mentioned a bit about data. And so I wanted to give you an opportunity to speak a bit about how Delterra kind of monitors, evaluates, tests and can report on this, please.
So, as I mentioned before, that to convince some of the government, especially at the policy level, that behavior change should be part of the design, should be in the picture from the beginning when they design the system. So we tested it. We create when before we actually entered, we done community research, and we've seen that actually bits and pieces is already there. The regulation is already there. They have the facilities, they have the resources, but why is not working? So we go back and look at what actually would make people want to follow regulation, and we think that it has to be that the rule has to have meaning for them. It's relevant for them culturally, politically, but it has to relate to them. And then the consequences has to be real. If it's only a concept, then they will not do it. And then there has to be a social validation for that. And the system has to be credible. They have to be able to rely on the system continuously. So based on that, we kind of create a system or an approach that we call no sorting, no collection. This is not a new thing. In Denpasar, the government already introduced that program, tidak pilah, tidak diangkut. But then we go back, why it's not working? So we think that they introduce it segmental. It's not as an integrated system. So we go back and we design this, and we put 4 components into it. The first one is regulation. We know that there's district regulation, but unfortunately, this regulation cannot cannot be enforced. They cannot put fine, they cannot put punishment in the regulation. But fortunately, Bali is not only official regulation. There's also adat regulation. So that's the one that we leverage. If you put it in awik or in the adat levels, they will be able to put like the sanction in there. So that's what we leverage. We work with the adat government, create a system where it's clearly stated. So what happens if you don't do sorting? And the second one is we work in terms of the system. So we work with TPS 3M, the MERS, and in desa level, in provincial level, and in a district level. Then we optimize that. We work in terms of management, how they should work. There's the SOP, the ways of working, and then train the workers, create an SOP that help them follow the collection, for example, create a system or collection system based on the road, based on the volume, based on the separated waste. So we create the whole system. And then the third one is we create an education that not only just fosters and communication, but really look into what actually make people want to do sorting. We figure out that people actually care. They do want to sort. And in Balinese cultures, it's close needed, and they look up to each other. So they actually copy what their neighbors are doing, and they look up to their leaders, community leaders. So these are the ones that we use. We create door-to-door education to provide real information, but we also have mass education where it's enable us to involve all the community leaders to provide modeling example for them. And the fourth one is the one that you mentioned, monitoring and evaluation. So the way we tested it is we give 2 weeks. The desa issues the letter demanding that the people start doing the sorting, and we let them know when it will start. And once it starts, we tell them, if you do not do the sorting, we do not collect your waste. So then when it commences, we do double monitoring. We monitor the sorting at the household, and we also monitor the driver in the collection. So if they collect the waste mix, then they will be retrained, there's refreshment, there's from the investigator. And on top of that, to make sure that the social sanction actually work, we provide stamping. So if they do not sort, there's a stamp on there. So that's actually like working because like people can clearly see if you don't do sorting, especially in the area where more rural. It's bring like you want to conform to social. You want your community approval that you're not the bad one. Everybody is sorting and you're not. And also, one good thing about that is if you're head of the village, for example, you're head of Banjar, you're head of the village, and you receive a lot of stamp, that is not a good model, right? You want to be a model for your villagers. That's why they saw it. And you can say, hey, your village leader actually saw it. Look, there's no thing there. And some of the villages even provide incentives. Like we worked with one of the desa in Bongkasa Pertiwi. The head of village actually provide like 10 kgs of rice for those who never received any stipend at all during those duration. So that we tested it and it works. We managed to get the sorting rate from 0 to 60 or 65 in 2 weeks. So that's like an achievement for us. Yes, thank you. So, but that doesn't stop here. Does it retain? Do they keep sorting when we stop it? So we do monitoring every 2 weeks. Every 2 months. We go back and do monitoring to see if people are still sorting, the driver are still collecting separately, and we find that it stays actually. Even if it's go down, it's only a bit. So if it goes down, usually we'll do like a little bit of refreshment of education, remind them again, or the desa usually send WhatsApp in the WhatsApp group, remind them again. Anymore. Now it's almost, I think, 1 year. Yeah, it stays. The behavior stays. So I think what we try to say here is that if we want the system to work, if we demand people to do certain based on the policy, then we have to create a system that makes it possible for them to actually deliver the demands. So I think that's for us.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. And I think you built on beautifully on a number of the points that came from the earlier panel, around, just the regulatory framework isn't enough. Information isn't enough. It's about going out and getting to know people, understanding what motivates them, what inhibits them. And I think just really a brilliant example of using some targeted levers of behavior change to work on, social influence, social sanction, but also social encouragement. So thank you for sharing that. That was great. So maybe Kawamura-san, I want to ask you, from what we've just heard, from examples from around Bali, how could we share this around the region? I think your role in area, you participate in a lot of forums around ASEAN, globally, through UNEP and the INC plastic negotiations. So I'm wondering, on the one hand, how could we share this? What are the good channels to do that? And maybe do you notice that when you're talking with policymakers around the region, are they taking notice of behavior change? Do we have an audience to talk to?
Thank you very much. This is a very interesting question, because this can be it requires some kind of a tactics of that. At first, the policymakers must realize behavioral change effectiveness, or behavior change is effective and it's efficiently, or such kind of thing. And in order to that, maybe we need from the regional center providing some infographics or some infographics to show the result. For example, as for the behavioral change project, we just showed the result of the Dr. Arisman's project in the University of Indonesia. The single-use plastics, the plastic straws consumption has reduced drastically by behavioral change, or such kind of thing. This is maybe the first step to to raise the awareness of this kind of for the policy makers. But as explained by Dr. Arisman and Dr. And the success is not very, very simple. The much preparation is necessary. And the preparation includes not only the information provision, but also we need establish some stakeholder consultation among stakeholder consultation, I mean that not only students but also faculties and some vendors must understand why we are doing such kind of behavioral change and how we can make some impact, and then what kind of the actions, concrete actions are necessary. Such kind of many steps are necessary. Many steps are needed for the successful behavioral change, which create much drastic change or change with the single-use plastics consumption. So, okay, some policymakers realize behavioral change could be one of the options. We should provide what kind of systematic approach can be successful based on the experience of Dr. Weissman and Julie and other Bali Islands experience. And in addition to that, actually, Area is now conducting another research project to find the small village in Indonesia has succeeded the improvement of the waste management to reduce the amount of the landfill drastically. Not only the behavioral change, but also other approaches were successful. So it is very context specific, but in some villages, behavioral change were very workable. In other villages, not the behavioral change, but system improvement, but system reform of the local waste management has very workable to reduce the landfill. In such kind of, let's say, context specific and systematic mechanism should be provided to the policymakers so that maybe policymakers can choose the most effective options for each specific site. This is maybe the showing the drastic figure is just one step. Next step is how we can make it, how the successful cases can be materialized. The tips and systems we provided. So this is what we practice.
Thank you. This is a really good point about behavior change being context specific. I think we've heard this through both panels that, you really need to get on the ground. You need to talk with people. You need to understand who is showing up to your training, who they're talking to. This is, I wonder, maybe I can put this to the whole panel. Does this context specificity, does this limit the ability to share experiences across region, or does it reinforce the value of sharing the process? Is that what we're most interested in sharing? I'm thinking here that, Bali has, a very unique system, as we heard, of levels of government. It reminds me a little bit of, systems in the Philippines where you get down to the barangay at the very local level, but this maybe isn't the same everywhere. So I wonder, do you see value in kind of sharing, as Kawamura-san was saying, let's share, these great results, but let's also, share a bit of the process, how the journey, how we got here, the value of the system. Maybe I wonder if Julie or Erisman, if you have a reflection on that. No pressure.
No pressure. Yeah, I think there is also have a success story when we start build MRT subway. People worried because we don't have a QR behavior. And then what happened? It works, and then nobody litter in the MRT or subway. So I think this is one maybe also support by JICA. So there's a very enforced by the partners. So my point is, when we come to the testing, like Julie or others, including us, this is part of the journey, I agree, but they should be from the government side. They look at is an opportunity to replicate. The problem is not about the diverse of, because we also work in Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia as well. I mean, it's not, I don't mention Bali special now, but I mean, every ASEAN countries, not include Singapore, the rest is the same. Because I remember if Indonesia travel to Singapore, they are very disciplined in the waste management. but when they return to Batam, they throw everywhere. So it means the system it worked in Singapore. I think it's also work in Bali in the future. But the point is, I can recommend to the government when it comes to the policy design. The first is need consistency, because the simple one is like this. In our school system, we never heard and learn about with the trash bin, which one is organic and inorganic. So many colors, not only green and yellow. There's a white, there's a pink, so many. You can see in the airport, so different colors. So it's confusing for young generation. Which one I have to put it? This is recyclable, non-recyclable. My point is, the government should consistent. Okay, this is there's the trash bin too. So this is recyclable and recyclable. And then the second one, this is also need a commitment. So I call it a 2C, consistency and commitment. Commitment from all stakeholders, not only blame the private sectors, not only blame the society, because the good policy, the one you can enforce. If you can enforce the policy, not just write down the regulation to the minister, but it's not easy to implement, like by you mentioned. I think that's my opinion. Maybe it's 200 and
No, thank you. Very much appreciate it. Julie, would you like to add your 2 cents?
I think that behavior program is well, just the name suggests, supposed to be built on the behavior of the people. About share, I think that as long as we share similar trait or in the behavior, then yeah, sure, we always can share. Like the Dara, we are not only in Indonesia, right? We also have a program in Argentina, but we don't always, even though we say Deltara and Deltara, we don't always be able to adopt whatever they are doing there into our program here. So we have to tailor it to Indonesian context. But one thing that surprising for us is human behavior is actually a lot more common rather than different than what we thought. We might think that, hey, me here in Indonesia, in Bali, probably have a completely different behavior than those in Argentina. Surprisingly, some of it are just the same. So if it's the same, then yeah, then some of the things that they've already developed there, it shouldn't go to waste, right? Then we might be able to test it here as well. Like you mentioned, in ASEAN, we share a lot of similarities in the system, in the structure, like you said, a lot of layers in the government. Then yeah, I think it's one thing that we should explore, not adopting it as it is, but we can always take the concept, tailor it to our.
Excellent, thank you. So I'm going to have one more question here. That we have a question from online, and I just want to remind everyone here, I will come to you after if you have any questions. So be prepared to raise your hand. So I guess that this is to the two Indonesians on the panel. I want you to think now about and share with us your view. So influencing policy here in Bali or in Indonesia, what are the things that are needed? What are the next steps? Like if you look forward, 5 years from now, what's a good situation for you? What do you think should be priorities for local government here in the province or for the national government to work on in order to push behavior change around waste management, not just plastic, of course, but across the board? I don't know which one of you wants to answer first. Which one wants to be on the spot? All right, Erisman, please.
Maybe Bali. Yeah, I think when it comes to the policy design, I think like I mentioned earlier, based on our interview with several ministry, they need a capacity building planning for this as a systematical approach, behavior change, not only information, communication, like awareness raising or that. And I believe also in like a Ministry of Environment, they have a Directorate of Environmental Education. Maybe it's same like in Japan, yeah. Mr. Kawamura, formerly Director of Environmental Education. So I think we can go through this directorate, yeah, because this is in charge for schools as well as young generation, because we want to change the behavior. Like we start with more junior people. Yeah, I don't say that senior citizens couldn't change, but we are talking about the next 30 years, 55 years you mentioned, right? So we are talking about primary school, secondary school, and then the second, the data again, monitoring framework is important because how you measure the impact of behavior change in your area, even local government or national. So I think the monitoring and evaluation, I believe in each ministry they have a monitoring unit, but maybe the question is how effective the monitoring and evaluation tools. That's my concept. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think that this will have echoes in the question that we've received from online. So maybe Julie, in the context of Bali, what do you think? What does a policy win look like in 5 years? What do maybe households or businesses or organizations need to support the work that they're doing and really enable behavior change at a larger scale?
I think that it has to start with putting behavior change as part of the system when designing it rather than an afterthought. Because currently that's what happened, right? Like the policy is created, then you think about how to change the behavior after that. So it should be from the beginning when it's designed, it should be formed as an integral one. I think this is a little bit related to the national government because the policy for the implementation will require resources. So I think from the national government, when created a policy, it has to be accompanied with resource allocation, budget, people that will make it possible to do it. Without that, it's just a policy. It's not gonna translate into intervention into a program. I think for policy, that's the key important one. And like I was saying that to have a structural way to actually implement that in the field, not only for Bali, I mean, for when we implement it, to have like a clear structure, not segmented, to take away all the I don't know, the department divides, sit together and figure out like this is interrelated problem that cannot be solved individually by certain departments. So might as well start sitting together, figure out how to solve the problem end to end. So not bit pieces here and there that will not work.
Thank you. Yes, what I'm hearing is, getting intentional about what we're doing. Plan, be very intentional, coordinate, and get serious. Put some resources behind it. As you said, a policy is just a policy until it's not. So thank you for that. I will read the online question now. And those of you online, you're still welcome to add some more. So this question is about data. So we know that solid waste management outcomes depend on better data, such as service coverage, waste diversion, etc. Yet third-party findings, so by organizations such as ours, are often resisted when they don't align with official targets. This happens in many places. So how can we motivate government units to improve monitoring systems so that they see data improvement as a governance win and a path to better results rather than a threat to performance scores? I'm not sure who might have a reflection on this. I think it's a very, very astute question, but does anyone on the panel have expertise to respond? Please.
Okay, so yeah, it is a very fundamental question about the evaluation and policy making issues. And the desirable situation is that information should be always correct and accurate, and it is verified always. And then policymakers straightforward look it straightforward to find what is missing and what is satisfactory, or which part is not satisfactory, and which area should be improved or not. It is a very, very desirable situation. However, in some cases, maybe government cannot action such accordingly, because due to the lack of the resources, lack of the capacity to collect the data or understand or digest the data or such kind of thing. So maybe this kind of the problem is not only relevant to the one specific policy area, but also relevant to the another policy areas. Not maybe in the ASEAN member states, as generally speaking, and except for Singapore, unfortunately, the lack of capacity affects the policy, the slow pace of the policy making, policy improvement. This is a very honest observation. So it is the persistent effort should be made. Not only data collection itself, but also policy making capacity should be established and developed.
Thank you, Kamara-san. And I think just to underline a bit of that and link it to some of the comments earlier, that when we're dealing with trying to shift the behavior of the regulators, this is also behavior change. This, we can also use the lessons that we've learned and figure out what is motivating or demotivating them. And sometimes, as you said, this is an issue of resource constraints, infrastructural issues, political issues, etc. So I think it's very complex and not simple, but I think that it's something that perhaps if we start becoming more serious and systematic, we can make progress on. So thank you. Maybe I will open up if we have a question over here. Could someone take a microphone down? Thank you.
My name is Koman from Catalyze. Maybe it's more like a food for thought rather than a question. What I noticed when I came to any talk show or dialogue like this for climate issues or climate change issues, most people sometimes talk about indigenous people. And in this context, I mean, I understand from Bali. I'm also a Balinese, half Balinese, so I understand that. But my question is, like Indonesia, for example, we are the largest Muslim country, in the world. And we rarely talk, since I'm a communication strategist as well, we rarely talk from a point of view of religious groups. We have Muhammadiyah. And I know that certain brands within Muhammadiyah and now they do green movement. And Islam itself taught a lot, like we're sitting in the mosque, they will always put bersih, bagian dari iman, right? Cleanliness part of the faith. And also, Catholic, late Pope Francis has Laudato Si. And a lot of the organizations in Latin America now also work on the green movement. But the thing that I noticed, the discussion about waste, religious community or religious leaders, and also indigenous people was not really in the center. Well, different case for Bali, because Bali built with the foundation of the customary village, with the ADA. So I think that's a very good move, grassroots. But I mean, when we're talking about behavior change to influence policy makers and also like the behavior change of the regulators, just use the same logic when it comes to elections. Most Indonesian politicians approach and Muhammadiyah and all the religious community leaders, right? They need that vote. But when it comes to issues like climate, it's kind of like put it away. So this is my questions to all of us, especially in ASEAN, like we share all the similar context. Why don't we try also to include this? Because in the way we see as a framework, not only like working with the grassroots, but then certain kind of high level thinking, like all these community, religious and indigenous people, leaders, they can influence. If the government of Indonesia can give mining rights to religious leaders or religious organizations, why don't they give waste management thing? I'm not talking about waste to energy and incinerator, it's too sensitive, but think like that. If the government of Indonesia can give mining rights to these religious groups, why don't also involve religious groups in the broader discussion about waste management? So that's only the
That's an important point, and I'd like the panel to respond. And I just want to, I guess, prime it a little bit by saying that I know, Arisman, in some of your work around behavior change, you've made a conscious effort to outreach to the religious community in University of Indonesia. So maybe we could start with you if you have some reflections on this. Don't mention the incinerators.
Yeah, I agree with Ibu, yeah. Because we also have a forum in the past about how a linkage between faith and religion, any religion, yeah, not only Islam. So, and then we believe that all religion will teaching good things, like please don't throw the, throw the, yeah. I mean, so maybe the big question is, I think the problem with might be too far, yeah. But Indonesia, I think we cannot rely on the society or the industry, because I believe government play important role. Like you mentioned, yeah, why you give a mining license but not give opportunity to settle the waste management in one village. So if the government feel that waste management is priority, they have to put budget in the Ministry of Environment, not in the Ministry of Defense. Yeah, so they have to put budget. Mentioned by Julie, yeah, because policy should follow by action, means a budget. Because to be honest, in ASEAN itself, the lack of proper waste management facilities. That's why there's an open dumping, burning, everything. So because of including Indonesia, I think the collection system, I think maybe I'm wrong, yeah, Ibu from Minister of Environment. I think only cover like 50%, plus. I mean, not maybe only collection system is only 30, 40, 40, 50, yeah, not 100%. 50, yeah. Can you imagine we have 270 million people across 17,000 islands, and then improper waste management system. So, but this is not as a reason, yeah. But I think I agree with you because I remember there's a government tried to talk about this, but it's, of course this is not an sexy issue compared to mining, yeah. But yeah, I think again, all the stakeholders should work together, play their role. The industry, because the industry also waiting for the clear instruction from the government and the society as well. I think if everything clear, consistency, commitment is there, easy. But the problem is if you change again policy, you change the mayor and then another new mayor have another policy, another minister different policy. So yeah, I think this kind of need more commitment. This is from my perspective.
Thank you, Arisman. And maybe, Julie, I could get your reflection on it. And maybe I could expand on the question a little bit as well, acknowledging a group that we haven't mentioned yet, is informal sector. How we can include informal sector when we think about policy, we think about behavior change. I wonder, I know that this is an issue you care about, so I wonder if you could speak to that a bit.
So in terms of religion, we already start the process when we develop our education messages, when we approach people that could be the model for the people in the villages. So we start to take into account religion. Maybe at the moment not systematically yet, which I think you're right. We need to put that into the system and treat it as part of the system. But yeah, we already started that, and especially it's helpful in context of we are here in Bali, like you said, that there's already like other system which is integrated closely with the religion system, and the messages that we can convey to the people regarding the philosophy of Tritakarana, where you have harmonious relationship with God, human, and your environment. So those are the ones that we put into. Regarding the informal sector, this is one part, like big chunk of the waste management system. But unfortunately, this is part that Deltara haven't cracked yet. So we are still trying to find ways that working with them. One thing that make it harder is there's no reliable data. Like there's no single data that lists down all the informal workers, and so it's kind of hard to actually reach them and to involve them into the system. So I think probably the first step that we think might be necessary is to have like a system that lists down all the informal sectors where they're working in what field, that might enable us to develop a more appropriate system that can help them and bring them into the system, the policy.
Thank you. Yeah, it sounds a little bit as well there. We need the data, but to get the data, we need the trust. And so there's a circle here that we need to explore. So I look forward to discussing this further with you in the future, and hopefully we can have an exchange. I know many other places within the region, as Kawamura-san mentioned, this is not unique to Indonesia. There are informal sectors, and there are success stories of outreach, and there are failures to learn from. So hopefully we can engage in some of that. So thank you. I want to read another question from online. This is about communications. So what kind of communication and outreach activities or products do we need to support better behavior change, and what kind of challenges, have we already encountered in our work? Kawamura-san, I know you mentioned things like infographics. These can be effective tools for communication, taking complex ideas and making them easy to digest. But I will throw it open to the panel to see what you guys think in terms of what communications products would be useful for you in the work that you do.
So maybe should I start? Maybe outreach and behavioral change relationship maybe can be, from my understanding, and can be understood as well. Such that information provision cannot teach the option of the next action. Okay, plastic pollution is serious. Plastic pollution can be harmful to the ecosystem and human health. So what we can do from tomorrow or from now? In such kind of cases, when we look around our household, no place for the segregation places, or no place for the recycling point. What can we do? We should look for the recycling industry by ourselves to bring the segregated waste. It is very unfeasible. So maybe the outreach itself cannot workable. It cannot work. Maybe outreach should be associated with infrastructure setting or coordination with stakeholders, including informal waste pickers or informal recyclers or formal recyclers or such kind of thing. Then information provision can lead to the actual action to improve the situation. This is a very desirable situation. So that maybe the outreach maybe it's not it's not the bad point of the outreach itself, but it should be maybe the behavioral change should require some systematic approach, a whole approach. This is my understanding.
Yeah, I think this is a very good point. We need to move beyond just information provision. Julie, maybe I can ask in your work, what types of communications products might you, or campaigns have you found beneficial, or do you think you would need?
For our program for the community, we use several ones. If we work with the rural areas, not everybody is delighted with a lot of words. So we have to find a way that quite intuitively that they will be able to follow, which is like flyers, stickers, nudges, colors on the bins that, don't require them to read a lot. They just instinctively be able to do the behaviors that we demand of them. So I think it so much depends on the target. But if we're talking about like younger audience, that might not be the appropriate channels. Then you need a more high-tech, more like fancy communications that make them like wow. Then they want to follow it. That not gonna work, But for ourselves, I think, like you said before, it would be helpful if we can have like learning from other places, information of what they have tried, what works, what not, along with what kind of context that they implement it in. Because otherwise we just look at the result and the data, but without understanding in which context and what kind of context they implement it, we will not be able to get the learning from their experience, right? So I think it would be beneficial when if there's any sharing of learning to also provide the kind of context where it's implemented.
Thank you. Yeah, I think this is an important point, that when we're communicating, to pay attention to the information we're communicating and what we might be leaving out. Thank you. And also the point about creative communication. I think this is well taken. Erisma, what's your view on communication here? Yeah.
Yeah, the same like you mentioned, depend on your target audience. Like if you target young generation, we had experience also with area. We organize ASEAN Youth Video Competition. We invite across ASEAN the university student to make a video 1 minute, and then this is means involving them in the issue, not only just give a prize when they get a winner, but this is one of the communication, because they feel if they make a video, they contribute. And also one example from case like I have to mention, maybe Pandawara is a group of young people. They clean up the river, so this is become viral in the social media, and then there's initiative like that, same things. So I think that's for the youth generation. But for the policy side, I think it should be more systematically, like put it in the curriculum, like school curriculum, like in the university level, because I also teach in the university, there's now effort from the university Indonesia, e-learning, put it sustainability as a curriculum and as an elective, yeah, not a major. But maybe in the school as elected, not specific waste management, but sustainability is a basis of their mindset when they deal with the real world. So I think depend on the target, policy side or youth or industry. So yeah, the very diverse communication channel, and I believe visual is more effective now than many word in the 50 pages.
Yes, I think this is an emerging phenomenon.
Yeah.
You know, succinct, to the point communication, visual, graphic, as Julie was saying. Make use of color, make it exciting for
Yeah.
people. Yeah, thank you. Maybe we'll open it up again if we have another question. Maybe I can put, please, Ibu Dia, please.
I don't have any question, but I just want to have a comment on what people comment from panelists. We have already the MOU with the because you mentioned the religious community. We have dialogue and also MOU with the Fatayat and Bu, and also we have this fatwa and MUI about the environment, especially the waste management. But for the operational level, I have to seek update for my colleagues at the Jakarta. And also we do have cooperation here with the Aisyah Muhammadiyah. Yes. They actively engage with the waste management issues here. So every time they often gather people and give education. So this is the power of ibu-ibu ya, for emak-emak. So like Pak Tania said previously that ibu is the educator. So we need more engagement from ibu-ibu. So this is in the information for you that we have also cooperation with not only Fatayat NU and Muhammadiyah, but also we have dialogues with Keuskupan Pastor in Jakarta. Thank you.
Erisman, I see you want to jump in.
Yeah, maybe it's a good initiative from the Ministry of Environment, but the problem is the communication again. Nobody, I just heard about this. Maybe you can hire catalyst.
Making connections.
Yeah, communication is important.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for highlighting the important role of women in this work. I think this really needs to be underlined, not just here, but also in the region. So thank you, Ibu Dia. Maybe we can end it there. I'm conscious of the time. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to thank the Behaviour Lab partners, Area, for kindly supporting us in this event, the first event of Behaviour Lab in 2026. We really look forward to future events, engaging with all of you more in the future. And please check out the various websites of the partner organizations, Area, IGIS, GIZ, WWF, Plastic Smart Cities, and RARE Center for Behavior and Environment. And please watch for further updates. We will be communicating via LinkedIn and our various social media channels. So thank you once again for coming to join us here in Bali. Those of you online, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. I know you're all over the world. So thank you again, everyone. Thank you.